Hey YouTube, Calvin here. Had a request for my thoughts on the Bark River Little Creek compared to the Bark River Micro Canadian 2. And rather than just answer the question, I thought I'd shoot a video here comparing the two. I've actually been meaning to do this for quite a while, but I actually meant to do this outside, but I've had problems with tripods and weather and all sorts of stuff, so finally figured I'd shoot it in my basement and give you guys a comparison of these two knives. So the first knife up, we've got the Bark River Knives Little Creek, and this handle material is, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Paua shell, and I think that's a Maori word. It's basically similar to abalone, mother of pearl, and what that has is, this particular one, you have black liners, and I believe that's acrylic protecting the actual shell underneath. And it's not a hard use material. I think it would be scratched up pretty bad if you really were using it. But as an EDC blade, which both these knives for me are EDC blades, it's held up just fine. I think it looks pretty good. I actually bought this because it reminds me of a shell that my grandmother brought back from New Zealand when I was just a child, and so this is kind of a sentimental value, I think. So anyways, about the knife, the measurements I'm going to give are for these two specific knives. They're not the official measurements, they're ones that I took myself. There we go. So we've got overall length is 5.6 inches. The handle, which is the length of the scales, here to here, is 3 inches. The edge, the cutting edge, is 2.33 inches. The thickness, and you can see this is quite a thick knife for its size especially, is 0.145 inches. The weight is 2.15 ounces. And this is an A2 tool steel. It comes with the Bushcraft F sheath, which is the smallest of the Bushcraft sheaths. And this particular one has a little bit of Obenoff's LP on it. It may have had some oil on it too, I can't remember, but I think it had a little bit of oil and then LP over it. And both these knives actually come with the same sheath. This is the one that I got with the Micro Canadian, and this one has not been treated at all, aside from how it came from the factory. So you can see this is a drop point, there we go, in the same sort of vein as the Bravo knives and the Fox River, perhaps, with the general blade style. There's no guard. You know, you've got a ricasso here, but basically the handle ends right at the blade. It's a 3-finger grip. It's really comfortable this way. Your little finger just sort of wraps around the edge there, or you can use it in a more extended position with a 2-finger grip. And this one is thick enough and stout enough. The blade grind, and this is one of the major differences between these two knives, the grind is quite stout. It's pretty thick here, and I've actually thinned it out just a bit from the way it came from the factory. So this would be a heavy duty use kind of knife that you could use. It's thick enough, it's tool steel. I think you'd be hard pressed to actually damage this knife in any meaningful way. It's just not long enough to give you a lot of leverage to bend it. And so in that sense, I think I use it as EDC, but it would also make a good small bushcraft style knife for doing woodworking. And the way the belly is shaped, you could probably skin with it. I'm not a hunter, but I'm guessing you probably could. Just for comparison, size comparison purposes, I've got a Swiss Army knife here. This is a camper model. You can see the blade is almost the same length. Overall, it's a little bit shorter. Compared to thickness, though, right, you can see the difference. It's probably twice as thick.